Hi everyone! Welcome to my channel, Tutorial by Sir Rymon. My name is Mr. Jem Rymon Master Teacher 2 from Escalante Central Elementary School, Schools Division of Escalante City, DepEd Region 6, Western Visayas. Click like and share if this video tutorial helps you. Don't forget to click subscribe below to keep updated for my future tutorial. For your suggestions, especially on the topic for my next tutorial, please leave your comment below. Hope you learned something in my video lessons for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Stay home and stay safe. Good day everyone! How are you today? I hope you're doing great. I have a news to all of you. Starting our third grading period, I decided to share with you video lessons in Mathematics 6. Yes, I'll be sharing to you my video lessons for quarter 3 in Mathematics 6. Are you excited to explore the world of Mathematics 6? Welcome to our Mathematics 6 class. And our lesson for this week is all about geometry. For this week class, we will tackle your Module 1 in Mathematics 6. And this module comprises of 2 lessons. We will tackle first the first lesson of your Module 1 about visualizing and describing the different solid figures, particularly the cube, the prism, pyramid, cylinder, cone, and sphere, using various concrete and pictorial models. Our objective for our lesson 1 would be to visualize and describe the different solid figures, the cube, the prism, the pyramid, the cylinder, the cone, and the sphere using various concrete and pictorial models. Before we proceed, let us have first the what I know part of your lesson 1. No need to write your answer. All you have to do is to answer it orally, okay? Now, before we start studying the module, let us take a simple test first to find out how much you already know about our topics to be discussed later, okay? Again, for this activity, match column A to column B. Just answer the letter only, okay? Now, for number 1, cube. Number 2, cylinder. Number 3, cone. Number 4, pyramid. Number 5, rectangular prism. And number 6, sphere. We will look for column B, the correct figure described in column A. Number 1, what do you think is the answer? Cube. Correct. Cube is letter B. Next, cylinder. Cylinder is letter D. Next, number 3, cone. Cone is letter F. Very good. Pyramid. Saan dyan ang pyramid? Yes, letter C. Number 5, rectangular prism. Correct. Letter E. And number 6, sphere. Saan dyan ang sphere? Sphere is letter A. Let's proceed to part B. For part 2, letter B, describe the following figures. Alam ko na medyo mahirap yung part na to kasi walang option na ibibigay sa inyo. But, try to answer it in your own words. Okay? Number 1, cube. What do you think is the description of the cube based on your imagination? Have you seen one? Nakakita na ba kayo ng cube? Oh, diyan kayo magsisimula how to describe the cube. Based on your idea, based on your imagination, what is a cube? Again, this is just a pre-test. Okay lang na magkamali. Understood? Okay, cube. It is a prism with a square base. All its faces are squares. That is how to describe a cube. Later on, we will visualize what is cube. Rectangular prism. What is rectangular prism? Have you seen one? Okay. Rectangular prism, it is composed of 2 rectangular bases and 4 rectangular lateral faces. I know the word pyramid is somewhat common to you. Now, based on your idea, based on your imagination, how do you describe pyramid? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is a polyhedron whose base is a polygon and the lateral faces are triangles. Next, cone. Yes, the cone, it has one circular base. Cylinder. Cylinder, it has two circular bases that are congruent and parallel. Number 6, sphere. Yes, the ball is a sphere. And how do you describe sphere? Yes, it is a curved surface of points that are all of the same distance from the center. Again, we will discuss all this as we go along. Again, this is just a pretest. So, okay lang na magkamali on this part. This time, we will proceed to your what's in part of the module in lesson 1. Now, direction. Identify the solid figure that is represented in each item. Again, no need to write your answer, just say it orally. Number 1, can of milk. What's that? What kind of solid figure is a can of milk? So for you to visualize what is this can of milk looks like, then I'll be showing you an illustration. That one, can of milk. What kind of solid figure is that? Yes, that's a cylinder. So again, you have now the idea what a cylinder looks like. Number 2, funnel. Funnel looks like this. So what solid figure is that? Yes, that's a cone. Number 3, orange. The orange fruit. That one. What solid figure is that? Yes, that's a sphere. Number 4, shoebox. This is a shoebox. So what figure is this? Yes, that's rectangular prism. Next, number 5, tent. That one. Yes, that's a pyramid. Number 6, soccer ball. Soccer ball is? Yes, that's sphere. Number 7, dice. This is a pair of dice. And what figure is this? Yes, that's cube. Number 8, globe. What figure is the globe? Yes, globe is a sphere. Next. Number 9, box of chocolate. What figure is the box of chocolate? Yes, this is a rectangular prism. And the last number is drum. What shape is the drum? Yes, drum is a cylinder. What is your score? I know you've got a very good score on this activity. This time, let us proceed to the what's new part of the module. And this could be found on page 8. On this part, class, again, no need to write your answer. Just answer orally, okay? On this activity, we will still identify what type of solid figure is shown in each item. Number 1, what is the name of this figure? Yes, that's sphere. Ball is a sphere. Next, number 2. What's that? Number 2. Number 2 is, yes, a pyramid. Next, number 3. A can. Can is cylinder. Next, number 4. Number 4 is, yes, a cone. Number 5, a shoebox. Yes, a rectangular prism. Good job, everyone. At least on this part, you have now the idea what are those solid figures look like. Objects in the real world are called three-dimensional. So these are examples of three-dimensional figures. Why do you think these figures you shown here on screen are called three-dimensional figures? Yes, we call all these as three-dimensional figures because they have the length, the width, and the height, as you see here on the screen. Okay? In the world of mathematics class, the three-dimensional figures are called solid figures. And what do you think are the examples of solid figures? What you see here on screen are some of the examples of solid figures. We have rectangular prism, the sphere, the cone, the cylinder, the pyramid, and the cube. All these are examples again of solid figures, and these are three-dimensional figures. All these figures have height, have length, and have width. This time we will describe each of the solid figures, and we will start with rectangular prism. And how do you describe rectangular prism? Rectangular prism is composed of two rectangular bases. What you see here on screen is an example of rectangular prism, and the bases are located in here, at the top and in the bottom. Rectangular prism is composed of four rectangular lateral faces. The word lateral denotes the side of the three-dimensional figure as opposed to the base. And we have four lateral faces of the prism. We have this one, at the side, at the back, and the other side. So again, lateral surface of an object is all the sides of the object except with the base and the top. And this is an example of rectangular prism. The next solid figure is the cube. And how do we describe cube? A cube is a prism with square base. All its faces are square. So all the faces of the cube are square in shape. The next solid figure is the cylinder. And cylinder has two circular base that are congruent and parallel. So these are the circular bases of the cylinder. So you notice the cylinder has two circular bases, and these bases are congruent and parallel to each other. Again, this is cylinder. The next solid figure is the pyramid. And pyramid, it is a polyhedron whose base is a polygon, and the lateral faces are triangles. So again, this is the pyramid. This is an example of a pyramid. And this is its base. And it's a polygon. When we talk about polygon, polygons are two-dimensional shapes which are made up of straight lines and globes. So we have different kinds of pyramid. And this is an example of a square pyramid because we name the kind of pyramid according to its base. So these are examples of a polygon. So again, polygons are two-dimensional shapes which are closed in shape and made up of straight lines. So triangle, quadrilateral, the triangle, the rectangle, the pentagon, the hexagon, heptagon, octagon, the nonagon, and decagon are all polygons. So we have here another example of a pyramid, and this time this is made up of another polygon, which is a quadrilateral, specifically a rectangle. So this is a rectangular pyramid. So again, the lateral faces here are made up of triangles. So we have four lateral faces for rectangular pyramid. The next solid figure is called cone. And how do we describe cone? Cone is a three-dimensional figure with a single curved base that tapers to a single point called apex. So again, this is the circular base of the cone which tapers to a point called apex. So again, this is an example of the cone. The next solid figure is the sphere. And how do we describe sphere? Sphere is a curved surface of points that are all of the same distance from the center. And this is how sphere looks like. So, it is curved as you see here. It has a curved surface of points. And these points are all the same distance in or from the center of the sphere. Again, let us all identify the solid figures that we discussed earlier. What's that? Yes, this is a rectangular prism. This one. This is a cylinder. Next, we have cube. Next is pyramid. Next one, obviously that's sphere. And the last one, we have the cone. Okay, this time, let us all have your what's more part of the module. And this could be found on page 10. Let us complete the table by supplying the required data. Do not write your answer anymore. We will answer it orally. Understood? Let's have the rectangular prism. We will illustrate by drawing the figure. We will identify the number of vertices, and then the number of faces, and the number of edges. Let's have rectangular prism. So this is how you illustrate rectangular prism. Let's identify its vertices. So let us count the number of vertices of the rectangular prism. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the number of vertices of rectangular prism is 8. How about the number of faces? We have 1, 2, 3 at the back, 4, 5, and 6. So we have 6 number of faces for rectangular prism. Next, number of edges. So edges, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 12. So we have 12. Next is the square pyramid. And this is how you illustrate the square pyramid. Let's identify the number of vertices of the square pyramid. Let us count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 5 vertices. Next, number of faces. It's the lateral faces first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the base here is another face. We have 5. So 5 faces for square pyramid. And number of edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. We have 8 edges for square pyramid. The next is cylinder. And this is how to illustrate cylinder. Number of vertices. We don't have vertices for the cylinder. And we have the number of faces. 1, 2. Only 2 circular faces for cylinder. And we have the number of edges. Again, we don't have edges for the cylinder. Next. Let's have the sphere. And to illustrate sphere, here is how. So the number of vertices for sphere, we don't have vertex for sphere. And we don't have face also for the sphere. And we don't have edge for the sphere also. Let us all read together the what I have learned part of the module. Go! Solid or spatial figures are geometric figures having 3 dimensions: the length, the width, and the height. Solid figures include: number 1, a cube. It is a prism with a square base. All its faces are squares. Number 2, a prism. It is a polyhedron whose bases are parallel congruent polygons and whose lateral faces are parallelograms. A prism is named according to the shape of its base. Each face is a polygon. Example: triangular prism, rectangular prism, cube, pentagonal prism, hexagonal prism, etc. 3, a pyramid. It is also a polyhedron whose base is a polygon and the lateral faces are triangle. Pyramids are also named according to the shape of its base. Example: triangular pyramid, rectangular pyramid, square pyramid, pentagonal pyramid, hexagonal pyramid, etc. Number 4, a cone. It is a solid figure that has curved surface and a circular base that tapers into a point. Number 5, a cylinder. It is a 3-dimensional figure with 2 congruent circular bases. Number 6, a sphere. It is a curved surface of points that are all of the same distance from the center. Now let's have the what I can do part of the module. Direction: name and describe the solid figures represented by the real objects as shown on your screen. So we will name the solid figure and then we will describe the solid figure as shown on the screen. Okay, number 1. The real object is a refrigerator. So the solid figure is rectangular prism. And how do you describe rectangular prism? Yes, it is composed of 2 rectangular bases and 4 rectangular lateral faces. Next, number 2, a pail. What's that? What kind of solid figure is that? Correct, it's a cylinder. And how do we describe cylinder? Cylinder has 2 congruent circular bases. Number 3, a party hat. What kind of solid figure is that? Correct, a cone. And how to describe cone? Yes, it is a solid figure that has curved surface and a circular base that tapers into a point. Next, the ice cube. And that's an example of a cube. And cube is a prism with a square base. All its faces are square. Next, number 5, a baseball. Yes, that's a sphere. And sphere is a solid figure whose set of points are equidistant from the center. Let's have the assessment part of your module. You can get any piece of paper or even you can get your notebook. No? Just write your answer in a piece of paper or in your notebook. I'll give you 5 minutes to answer your assessment. For part A, you have to draw the different solid figures. Okay? So your time starts now. three-dimensional figure, and that is a rectangular pyramid. Next, number 2, sphere. Sphere, is it 2D or 3D? Yes, that's 3D, three-dimensional figure. Next, number 3. That's pentagon. Pentagon is? Yes, that's 2D. Next, number 4. That's triangular prism. Yes, that's three-dimensional, 3D. Number 5. That's hexagon. Hexagon is a 2D or two-dimensional figure. This time, let's proceed to your what's in part of the module that could be found on page 18. Let us name the following figures as you see here on the screen. Number 1, what's that? Yes, that's a triangle. Number 2, what is the name of the figure in number 2? Yes, that's a square. Next, number 3. Number 3 is? Very good, that's a cylinder. Next, number 4. Yes, that's a sphere. Next, number 5. 5 is? Rectangle. Very good. Next, number 6. That's cube. Very good. Number 7. That's a circle. Next, number 8. That's hexagon. Very good. Hexagon has 6 sides. Next, number 9. Yes, that's a pyramid, particularly rectangular pyramid because the base is a rectangle. Next, number 10. Yes, that's cone. I'm sure you've got a very good score on this activity. Good job, everyone. On the left side of your screen are examples of plane figures, and on the right side of your screen is an example of solid figures. Now, can you differentiate? Now, let's define first plane figures. Plane figures are flat two-dimensional figures. Again, plane figures have 2 dimensions only, namely the length and the width, as shown here on the screen. Plane figures are also defined as closed figure whose points lie on the same surface. And what are examples of plane figures? Here are some of the examples of plane figures. A closed plane figures that serve as pattern used to form solid figure is called net. Usually, plane figures are commonly used to form solid figures, and the pattern used to form a solid figure is called net or nets. What are the common examples of net? So here are some of the common examples of nets. So again, nets are used to form solid figure. This is an example of nets. As you can see, these are made up of a plane figure called a triangle. And this is used to form a triangular pyramid. Next, this one. We have a rectangle and 2 circles. And this is a net for cylinder. This one. This is a net for a cone. This one. This is a net of this one. Yes, this is a net of square pyramid. So these are made up of triangles, 4 triangles and a square. And we have here 6 squares. 6 squares forms a cube. So again, these are common examples of a net. A net is a pattern that is formed from a plane figure to make a solid figure. So solid figures are geometric figures having 3 dimensions. Again, these are length. These are the length, the width, and the height. That's why solid figures are commonly called as 3-dimensional figures. What do you call the side of the solid figure? Yes, we call this as face. So these are example of the faces of the rectangular prism. Now, what do you call the point where two faces intersect in a line segment, just like this one? What do you call this side wherein this is formed when two faces intersect in a line segment? Yes, we call this edge. Okay? Edge is the line where two faces met on a three-dimensional object. What do you call this point wherein two edges met or intersect? Yes, we call this as vertex. Vertex is a point where two edges intersect. So again, solid shapes or solid figures have faces, the edges, and the vertices. Again, let us identify the solid figures. What's that? Yes, that's rectangular prism. Next, we have the cylinder. Next, we have the cube. Very good. Next, that's pyramid. Next, we have the sphere. And we have the cone. Again, these are some examples of solid figures, namely rectangular prism, cylinder, cube, sphere, pyramid, and cone. This time, let's have the what's more part of your module, and this could be found on page 21 of your module. Okay, directions. We have to identify the figure described in column A with the solid figure in the column B. No need to write your answer. We will answer it orally. Number 1. I have one circle and one curved side. My curved side surface meets at a sharp point. I have no edges. So what kind of solid figure is described in item number 1? Yes, the answer is cone. Number 2, I have two congruent circles that are joined by a curved surface. I have no edges or vertices. I can roll. Yes, that's a cylinder. Next, I am round with no vertices and edges. So what do you think is the solid figure described in number 3? Yes, a sphere. Next, number 4. I have 6 same-shaped faces, 12 equal edges, and 8 vertices. So what is described in number 4? Yes, it's letter C, cube. Next, number 5. I have 12 edges, 8 vertices, and 6 faces. I have both square and rectangular faces. So obviously, that's prism. It's letter E. Next is, we have to complete the table. We will give the dimension and we will identify if this figure is a plane or a solid figure. Let's have the cube. What are the dimensions of cube? Yes, we have the length, the width, and the height. Obviously, the cube is a three-dimensional figure. And three-dimensional figure is a solid figure. Very good. Next, cylinder. What are the dimensions of cylinder? Yes, we have also the length, the width, and the height. Cylinder is, based on the dimension, a three-dimensional figure. And three-dimensional figure is a solid figure. Next, we have the square. What are the dimensions of square? Yes, we have the length and the width. So obviously, square is a two-dimensional figure. And two-dimensional figure is a plane figure. Triangle. Triangle has length and width also. And it is a plane figure. Let's have the rectangular prism. Rectangular prism has length, width, and height. Yes, of course. Obviously, rectangular prism is a solid figure. Let us all read the What I Have Learned part of the module all together. Go! Solid or spatial figures are geometric figures having three dimensions: length, width, and height. Plane figures are flat two-dimensional figures with length and width. These are closed figures which points lie on the same surface. Square, rectangle, circle, triangle, and pentagon are examples of plane figures. A net is a closed plane figure that can be folded into solid figure. Solid figures are geometric figures having three dimensions: length, the width, and the height. Cylinder, prism, sphere, cube, cone, and pyramid are common examples of solid figures. This time, let us have the what I can do part of the module. All you have to do is to illustrate the given solid figure and let's identify what kind of plane figure that illustrate its faces. Okay? Let's start. Let's have number 1, rectangular prism. So this is how rectangular prism looks like. And what kind of plane figure illustrates its faces? Yes, obviously, the faces of rectangular prism made up of rectangle. Next, we have square pyramid. So square pyramid looks like this, and the plane figure that illustrates its face is square and a triangle. Next, let's have number 3. Number 3 is hexagonal prism. And this is how hexagonal prism looks like. So the plane figures that illustrate its face is hexagon. Again, hexagon has 6 sides and we have rectangle. So each face is made up of hexagon and rectangles. Number 4, cube. So this is how you illustrate the cube. Obviously, the plane figure that made up its face is square. Next, we have number 5. This is the illustration of a sphere. And the sphere has no face. This time, let us have your assessment. Again, you can use a scratch paper or any piece of paper or even your notebook in answering your assessment. I will give you 5 minutes to finish your assessment. For part A of your assessment, you are going to match column A to column B. Match the solid figures in column A with the corresponding nets in column B and write the letter only. Your time starts now. For the part B of your assessment, you have to fill in the blanks and the answer is found inside the box. You choose your answer inside the box, okay? do it now. Please take note also with your additional activities in your module. You may copy this also in your scratch paper or your notebook. If you want to keep updated in all my video lessons and in all my video tutorials, please do subscribe in my YouTube channel, Tutorial by Sir Rymon, or you may search Teacher Jem Rymon Chin. For those who have subscribed already, thank you so much. That's all for this week, class. Thank you so much for participating. Have a blessed week ahead. See you next week. Don't forget to stay home and be safe always.